Hello guys, welcome to my humble YouTube channel where I bring you fanfiction that will brighten your days. Before we start, a subscribe is greatly appreciated, and don't forget to leave a like and ring the bell icon so you won't miss exciting new fanfiction stories. Alright, let us begin on this new fanfiction story, The Fate of Izawa Shizue by Bisel13. Chapter 10. Constance Blaze Pav. Your Highness, it's time, is everyone ready? Yes. There's a pause before answering. Then it means it's the otherwise. But I can't force it, this is the best thing we can do. Alright, then at least let me stay behind the convoy. I can't let that happen, Your Highness, our enemy is only a few kilometers behind us, they can reach us very so. That's why we can't let you stay behind, Your Highness. We cannot lose you, you're all our best hope. Do you think I can't fight? Please understand, Your Highness, even if you can fight, we can't stand that many soldiers who coming at us. If you get captured, then our fight would meaningless. I can't stand it. Being in this situation, I cannot risk my life. But because of that, I can't fight alongside people who stand for me. Is there really no other city other than Cardinalis which can we use? Unfortunately, every other city is not suitable enough to become our base. Besides. Alright, I understand, not every territory is supporting us. Our best and only ally was Count Billard in the south. Nevertheless, he didn't have many armies either. But he has been generous enough to let us use his territory to become our home base. Then, it's time, Your Highness, I nodded in grief. In the first place, I didn't want this conflict to happen. I never hate my brother. I don't want blood being shed for just our misunderstanding. If this is just something between me and my brother, there should be only the two of us who fight. But again, many people sought an opportunity in our quarrel. I can sense there's someone who orchestrated this conflict. I promise, once this conflict is over, I will retaliate against whoever made us his pawn. I go into my carriage, and it's placed in the middle of the convoy. My knights are guarding every side of my carriage during the journey. I sent the news of our departure to Captain Allen 2 days prior, and I hope he can arrange some additional army when we near the city. I hope we can last for at least 3 days. Your Highness, it's already midnight. I suggest using this time for rest. My butler, Vlan, is sitting in front of me. He told me to get some sleep, but I cannot rest until we arrived in Cardinalis safely. I'm sorry, Vlan, but it seems impossible. I see. Vlan must be understand the reason why. He didn't pursue the matter with me anymore and decided to stay awake with me. He also brings out some sweets and food from the food supply. Your Highness, if you mind, please have some of this food. You haven't eaten anything since this afternoon. I don't feel so hungry, Vlan, Your Highness, don't blame yourself for everything. You're not the cause of this conflict. So stop being too hard on yourself and eat. Vlan has gone reprimanding me. It's no wonder, his temperament is actually an impatient one. But he's very honest and loyal. Seeing him still like this somehow relieved me a bit. Alright, I'll take half of it then. And please, share it with the people too. By your will, Your Highness, thank you, and so, I take half of the food he offers and let him go to share it with some people nearby. We brought up around 20,000 people, including my knights and army, to evacuate to the city of Cardinalis. My territory, the Principality of Holgan, has been too much ravaged by the conflict. Every city, town, and even village in my territory has been damaged by this conflict. I was preparing to surrender, but then miraculously, Count Billard suddenly sent a letter to me and declared his support for me. He even allows me to use his territory as our base operation and has formally permitted me to use the Cardinalis city as our bastion. I cannot thank him enough, but I immediately dispatch my own knight brigade there to help secure it and prepare for our evacuation. I tried to hold on to my own territory while the evacuation begins in some phase. But as days went off, our strength has gotten weaker and weaker, while our enemy had still better superiority over us in every aspect. So I have no other choice than join the biggest and final evacuation to save our remaining strength. Our best possible outcome was we able to reach Cardinalis in 3 days, and immediately strengthen Cardinalis to face my brother's army. But anybody knew, it was nearly impossible with our condition right now. I can only sigh thinking about it. I cursed myself for not being able to find any other solution. I hope miracles happen, I mumbled those words, but somehow, Vlan is hearing them. If we really on the good side, God would never abandon us, Your Highness. He replied without any hesitation. I wish I can have that much confidence, but the dragon god is still only a legend. You never doubt anything about the dragon god, Vlan? I don't have any reason to not believe it. Without the help of the mighty dragon, this kingdom wouldn't even exist, Your Highness. You're talking about the legendary dragon, Scorched Dragon Velgrand-sama, right? Yes, in my whole family, we take pride as the very first servant who trusted to serve your great-great-great-grandfather who's been loved by the mighty Velgrand-sama. We never forget, and we always take pride in it, including me, Your Highness. I smiled after seeing him answer my question in such high spirits. Whether it's true or not, it's already written in history. The story of my ancestor being loved by a mighty dragon named Velgrand, it's become somewhat common knowledge throughout the continent. The dragon has made this dying kingdom become a fertile land, and dispose of every enemy who's seeking the new rich land. But the mighty dragon didn't stay long. Only after my ancestor passed away, she leave this kingdom. She said that she was not interested in this world, she only seeking her lover's soul who inhabited my ancestor. We couldn't understand her mind, and she never leave anything for us except this new rich land. The one thing she ever said to us was, "Don't worship me, I only did it for my beloved Rudra. If you want to worship someone, worship my brother Veldanava. He's the mightiest of all of us." And for that, the people of this kingdom, Castland, started to worship Veldanava. But there's no literature and no other proof of his existence. They basically worship him, without knowing anything about him. But to say I'm not a believer in his existence, it's not the right answer. The proof of this kingdom's soil being fertile, while geographically impossible, was a miracle enough for me to believe there is omnipotent existence out there. Then I wish he would help us. I don't have any power to end the suffering of my people. Only a miracle could help my people. If the miracle happens, it must be because of you, Your Highness. I'm only bringing disaster to this kingdom, Vlan. That's not true. It's already a miracle we could come this far, Your Highness. It's only sheer luck, with many sacrifices, then, there's our miracle. Our sheer luck, for being able to live this far. Only us, not my people's family or their low, to lead another 100,000 people, into a bright future. Your Highness, we can't decide fate. But we can make any situation become better. That's our role, as the future leader of this kingdom. I can't rebut Vlan's argument. No matter how much hate I have for sacrifices, I will always be needed to step forward. I understand that much, but I can't accept other people's life easily, just for my sake. You have been through a lot, Your Highness. I know I already said this, but you should rest. We've been in countless battles. You might not feel it, but you are already at your limit. Please rest, Your Highness. Are you sure it's gonna be all right? Let's hope our sheer luck would save us this time. I really hope that would happen again. He smiled at me, and bring out a blanket. Just rest, Your Highness. I can't have any other argument anymore. So at least, for now, I'll do what he asks. The ride has been bumpy, and the armor I wear is uncomfortable, but surprisingly, I was immediately asleep. Is His Highness asleep? The head knight who's one of the guards the carriage, asks Vlan. Yes, he's been at his limit, he just never showed it. Vlan answered. His demeanor was not as elegant as most of the servants, especially servants of royalty. But his sensitivity and brash attitude somehow always managed to help the prince to stand on his feet. Not just once he had been warned by nobles and even the king for his brazen attitude, but Prince Constance always chose him to accompany his side. Well, that's just who he is. But that's why people loved him. The head knight, named Klon, responds to Vlan's answer. He's the captain of the 9th Royal Knight Brigade, who should be serving the king. But after the conflict broke out, he chose to fight under Prince Constance's name, while the other Royal Knight Brigade chose to fight under Crown Prince Terrace, which was actually logical since he was the legitimate successor of the throne. Will we take a break? Vlan asked Klon. We will, but not long. We would only take a break for half an hour, or an hour at most. I didn't receive anything from the guards behind, but it's possible pursuers are coming at us. I see. How far we are from Cardinalis? Initially, we are about 100 kilometers away. But at this speed, we can reach Cardinalis in 3 days. That's good. Can I tell this to His Highness when he awake? Klon take a time before answering. I think we should not. We're still too early to say everything's gonna be fine since we only moved for around 5 kilometers from our starting point. Really, is there any good thing I can say to His Highness? I'm so sorry, Vlan-san. But to be very honest, we managed to depart this quickly is already a miracle by itself. You're right. It's always a miracle. Sorry for not being grateful, Captain Klon. Don't worry, Vlan-san. I have known for your attitude. And stop calling me a captain. Right now I'm not the head of the 9th Royal Knight Brigade. Alright. I'm sorry. I just forgot. That's just so you, Vlan-san. Klon managed to put a smile on his lip. This is the only amusing moment he has after a whole day busy organizing the evacuation. And Vlan also put a smile, only his was bigger than Klon's. Then, I pray for tonight's safety, that would help. After that, Vlan came back inside the carriage, while Klon stepped away from the carriage. I hope miracles can happen tonight, Klon thought. But that night, something really happened. The only problem was, whether it was a miracle or disaster, no one can decide. On your guard. The sudden shout-out woke me up. I was immediately sit on where I sleep, and put my hand on my sword. Protect His Highness. I hear it loud and clear. I look outside the carriage and found everyone running forward. I don't know what exactly going on, but I know it must be enemies are coming. I see Vlan is in a fully alert state. Then I spontaneously came out from the carriage. I can't run away when the enemies are coming. Your Highness. Don't come out. Get back inside, Your Highness. Klon and Vlan were ordering me to come back in sync, but I won't do it. Your Highness. But then, the other knights were also joining in to get me back inside the carriage. They held my shoulders, holding my arms, even one of them are choking my throat. What? I tried to ask what was going on, but the knight who choked my throat is holding my voice out. Idiot. You're choking His Highness. I heard Klon shouting to the knight behind me, and immediately after, he let me go. My utmost apologize, Your Highness. He suddenly knelt before me. But that's no matter because now it's not a time. What is going on? What is going on? Then one of the armed people, or rather just an ordinary person who happens to wield a sword, reports to me. Your Highness, our convoy has been attacked in the rear by pursuers. The enemies are deploying mounted knights and mercenaries from the foreign kingdom. We must retreat. Retreat. Where to? We cannot retreat anywhere. We cannot retreat, but we can make His Highness flee away from here. Your Highness, please take the horses and run away from here. Klon suggests, but that suggestion is not counted as my solution. No, I cannot do that. I'll fight here. They might be searching for me. I'll take their attention away and use that moment to secure our convoy. No way. We cannot let you do that dangerous thing. Your Highness, please understand, we are willing to die for you. Please run away and don't let our belief goes out. Yes. There are still many people awaiting for you in Cardinalis. We can still win this war. Screw this war. I can't hold back anymore. I let out my inner thought unconsciously. I really have tired. I want to give up. I don't want to see any more death for my quarrel with my brother. My sudden statement made the soldier around me go silent. They didn't expect it. Screw this conflict. I never wanted to see any of you die anymore. If my death can end this conflict, I'll gladly accept it. They remained silent. And by seeing that, I unsheathed my sword. I'm prepared to face those enemies. At least, I would save as many as I can before I die. Perhaps, it would ease the sin I have made. Then I'll face those enemies. You cannot stop me. It's become unbearable. And I won't let any of you die for me anymore. And so, I turn my back to them. I'm beginning to walk to the rear of this convoy. I should have done this earlier, I thought. Maybe, if I do this earlier, many lives can be saved. But just as when I took another step, they started to hold me again. Your Highness, please, don't be like this. Don't think your life alone is enough to end this war, Your Highness. We are willing to do anything for you, but don't make us let you die, Your Highness. But I won't hear anything from them anymore. I've made my decision. My luck isn't happening again. The miracles I hope wasn't come. It's time to face reality. It's time to realize I'm not good enough to be saved. It's time to end this. Let me go. I shouted at them, and they stopped. Finally, they have given up. Or so I thought. As I lift my head up again, I suddenly saw two figures standing in front of me. At first, I thought the two of them are female. But the other one seems strange. The first one has long black hair, with golden eyes, a slender body, and bluish attire. While the other one is having short black hair, black as pearl eyes, wears a white tunic, and is stunningly beautiful. I cannot determine what the other one with the bluish attire looks like, since he, or she, was suddenly gone. It seems he moves suddenly at incredible speed, toward our convoy's rear. Meanwhile, the other one turned out looking at me. The two knights in front of me have pointed their swords toward her, but she seems undisturbed by it. Rather than undisturbed, she looks like she doesn't even care about the others. But she looks at me intently. Leave it to us. Suddenly she spoke. And then, she leaves at an inhuman speed. I look the other to make sure I didn't just hallucinate. But they were also shocked at what just happened. On my instinct, I ran following her. And after a while, the knights who were also my guards, followed soon. We all ran together, but surprisingly, none of them are saying anything. And I took it for granted. I still saw many people running toward our direction. They are still in a panic, so we also do our best to help them. We direct them to a safe direction, and whenever we saw fallen people, we would help them to get up. Most of them who were injured or fell are women and children, while their husbands or father were desperately trying to get them back on their feet. This kind of sight is what makes me want to give up. But then, Your Highness, who is she? That young woman is curing our wounds. It's unbelievable, but look. My wounds are gone. I suddenly got reports from the troops from the rearguard about the young women. I don't know who they talking about, and what kind of nonsense is that? Healing wounds. How can that even be possible? You need to take weeks, even months to heal those kinds of injuries. Who are you talking about? I finally found the right question. The young woman in white attire. Is she one of us, Your Highness? What? No way. Are they talking about the young women I saw before? I suddenly have the urge to see it right away. So I didn't answer any of them and run forward with all I have. My guards are the same and followed soon. Soon after, I managed to see her. She's commanding the nearby troops with such dignity and charisma. I have never seen someone who has ever led as dignified as she. And most of all. That's it. Look. She's done it, Your Highness, look. I look at her. She's kneeling down on one of the injured civilians. I saw a huge slash wound on his arm. But then, the young woman put her hand upon the injury. Then a light suddenly appeared in her hand. The sudden light appearing in her hand is shocking enough. But what is more shocking are the injuries. I can't believe what I see. The injury has been healed. Why, what's that? I unconsciously asked. We don't know, Your Highness. But we have been like that too. That's right. Our wounds are suddenly healed by themselves when she put a light on it. Is that the legendary magic? We all suddenly fell silent. That's right. There's a legend saying about a mysterious power called magic. A power that breaks any common sense. A power to break the law of nature. The power who rumored to belong to the mighty dragon. It's impossible, isn't it? Just look at her. She's a human, right? And the other one, it looks like a human too. No way they're a dragon. Although, the legend about Velgrin Sama also tells that she occasionally uses a human appearance. But her might and dignity are completely different from a human. Then what is it? Is she on our side? Yeah. Look. She even gave orders to our men. I can see it. She was giving orders to the soldiers nearby, and they looked completely obedient. Your Highness, we have to help her, Vlan suddenly made a statement. That's right. I cannot just stand here. I have to do what I can. I desperately wanted to join the battle before. You're right. I'll go help her, Your Highness. We can't. No, it's probably the miracle we've been waiting for. We have to do what we can. They suddenly fell silent. Klon was the one who opposed me to joining the battle the most, but he's not an airhead. He must know what we should do. And, with those two powerful beings present, this is our safest place. His Highness is right, Klon. We have to do something. Klon's face became troubled by Vlan's push, and after seeing me eager to join, he gave up. All right, but please stay close to us, Your Highness. I only smiled at his words and nodded. Then, without any second thought, I ran forward. But it's too late. Hold your line, I'll go forward. The young woman gave orders to the guards nearby. We heard it loud and clear. We came to those guards and asked what happened. They say she told them that she would charge forward. Her speed is so overwhelming that none of us could see where she go. Your Highness, we have to do what she told, but I can't just stand here doing nothing. It's all right. She seems to trust us, so we shall do the same. But, it's all right, Your Highness, my banter with Vlan couldn't be continued anymore, since I too have no more reason to deny him. He's right. I don't have such overwhelming power. And if she is on our side, then all I can do is support her by not getting in her way. But then. Whoa. What was that? Bug crack. Some soldiers fell, Vlan's too. The trained knight and I were still able to stand. But the ground shaking suddenly is very surprising. But that's not all. The other fell silent again, a very dead silent. The remaining civilian, soldiers, horses, and me, are all staggered seeing it. It was lightning. Very big black lightning. Coming down to the ground from the sky, strike down the earth with magnificent force. Then, the smaller black lightning is coming to the ground like rain. Seconds later, a strong wind came at us. But this wind, it's not normal. It's very thick. It brings an ominous feeling. I can't breathe it. My skin is all in pain. Then, tremendous pressure are squeezing me. And I felt it. I felt fear. It makes my mind go abnormal. I can't think straight. I took a glance behind me. And I was surprised nobody was standing. No, more than that, they are unconscious. But then, a sudden flash of images appear inside my mind. An image of a mysterious land. There, I saw a man. A man with long blonde hair. I can only see him very briefly, but he looks very beautiful. After that, I felt my body collapsed. And then, everything went dark.